Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Talon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show's been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Hello and welcome back to the Creative Condition podcast. My name is Ben Talon. I'm your host, the founder of the Creative Condition, creativity coach, writer, author, and of course, illustrator. Writer and author too. Oh, I don't know. You know what I do by now, don't you? Welcome if you're new to the show. I'm here to do creativity stuff, to talk about creativity, and this is the Brew Brain Dump. So I get these ideas and I think, I just want to talk about that, but I spend time alone here in this studio, and therefore I think, okay, I'll talk to my lovely podcast audience. So that's what this show is. This is just a very whimsical, momentary reflection. Try to keep it around 10 minutes, nice short episodes, because I know everyone's very busy in our lives these days. But here's where I'm coming from on this one. So I really don't like artificial intelligence. This isn't an artistic thing. This isn't about demonizing a new technology. This is an environmental concern on my part. I have 2 young children. The resources that this stuff uses is quite monstrous, I'm led to believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I'd love to be wrong. I really do want to be wrong. But I know the whole thing with data centers and water to cool them and the rest of it. And I know there are some interesting, innovative, ironically, AI-driven solutions in the offing that are out there, but I am concerned about it, so I'm not using it unless I absolutely see a real gilt-edged, brilliant use of it that is worth, let's say, a single question on ChatGPT. I think I've asked about 8 questions of ChatGPT. That's my entire use of AI. I don't intend to use it anymore either, and I wanted to bring this up because what it's done is really made me think about, okay, if I'm not going to use AI in my practice, if I'm going to be one of those luddites who might, in 10 years' time, all the speed things are going in 6 months' time, massively regret not getting my head around this and working it into my project flows, so be it. But if I'm not going to do that, what is the alternative? How am I going to amplify what I am going to do in such a way that is different? I didn't word that very well, but here's my example. So in my coaching practice, I plan to, as I grow in my coaching, I intend to be offline more and more, as much as possible. Now, invariably, there's going to be uses that I actually quite like Zoom calls with some clients who are overseas or can't meet in person. That's fine. There are good uses of technology. I'm not a Luddite when it comes to technology, full stop. But things like AI note takers and generative AI doesn't work for me. Like, I don't want to be using resources that are going to give my kids a worrying, potentially traumatic future on this planet by using their resources as much as my resources to query things or to bring things in that I could just find another way that is simpler and more analog and keeps me off screens and protects my creativity. So with my coaching, it's going to be all about coffees and chats and handwritten letters. This is a big part of what I want to do. So I'm working with my wife as we speak to design me a booklet for my coaching that shows my professional competency, that is going to be printed on recycled stock, going to be limited amounts. I'm going to target them for people I really want to work with. It's going to be sent with a handwritten letter. Not only because that gets me above the digital noise, the clamour for attention that we're all subject to now on social media and the likes, or even email, the risk of going into spam. Someone receives something nice in the mail, it's beautifully designed and it looks good and it shows off professional competency, but then it's also accompanied by a letter that reaches out personally to them and compliments them and speaks of what I revere about them and why I'd like to help them with my coaching. I believe that's going to cut through the noise and that's going to have a special place on somebody's desk. I've had this with my printed illustration booklets in the past. I've got commissions because my book has been there on a shelf when somebody forgot where my email was or who that person was on LinkedIn that had that cool style, and therefore they never got back to me like they wanted to. They've then said in their email, having your book on my shelf caught my eye and I remembered you and I remembered your style and I gave you that commission. Beautiful. I want the same thing for my coaching. So what AI is doing is forcing me to think differently and think more analog than ever before. Call me a luddite, call me naive. It might turn out to be the case. I can't yet know. But when I have no particular interest and I am ethically opposed on environmental grounds to using this stuff, then I've got to think sharply about another way. So it's honing my thinking in a really unintentional, different way. And I find that really, really interesting. There have been other instances of that happening where my scanner, for example, I had an issue with my scanner last week. My printer went on the blink. It's like, how do you work around that? And what it did was force me to walk down to the local printer and strike a new relationship and get some real insights into printing presses and just make local connections with new people. And because I use every available opportunity to work around Google's horrible default AI overview, like I don't want to, and I'm not no interest in AI overview. I can Google this shit. It's still there on other websites and good credible resources. So fuck off with your AI, default AI overview using gross amounts of water and electricity when really I needed to use a lot less with a simple Google search. But what it's doing is I'm getting the dictionary out of my drawer instead of going for a definition. I'm contacting friends who work in certain industries who have knowledge on certain things to ask them a question. Now that might seem absolutely ridiculous and going around the houses using more time when I have this simple fix with AI. But not only is it saving resources in that regard, it's forming deeper connections because I'm contacting those friends when I had no other reason to. And I might have gone months without getting onto them. It's making me look at print publications and go back to libraries and things. Now, I'm not wasting loads of time to do this. Don't get me wrong. These are few and far between the instances where I need to do these things. But this is just a point I wanted to make by telling you guys you don't always have to follow the flock. There are other ways and beautiful benefits by doing things your way. If your way is AI and you feel differently about that and you know more than me and it's not the case with water and everything, brilliant, do it, fair play. I'm not going to demonise others. This is not a dig at others who are doing it. But this is just where I stand and the little things I've noticed. And there is something about having to go another way. So that's today's Brew Brain Dump. I just wanted to share that one with you and I'm interested in your thoughts. Let me know. Episode coming up later this week talking about excitement and the need for that in our creative practice. But other than that, that's it from me today. Check out the founding sponsor of the show, illustrationx.com, for all their global roster of illustrators and animators now. Great stuff, great agency, best illustrators in the world, my opinion. Have a look. Also, ui.org.ua for the Ukrainian Institute if you want to support the brave and embattled Ukrainian creative community during this time of war. Please do it. If you want to coach with me one-to-one, that's all on thecreativecondition.com. You'll find all the stuff there along with my other creativity resources. Let's get you enhanced. Nice one, guys. Have a great week.